Investors looking for greater diversification or trying to tap into fast-growing parts of the world may have considered emerging market economies, such as Brazil, Russia, India, or China. Of those, Russia is certainly the largest in terms of landmass, but it ranks only 11th in terms of worldwide gross domestic product, well behind China and India and just ahead of Brazil. The initial transition period for Russia following the fall of the Soviet Union in 1991 was tough, as it inherited a devastated industrial and agricultural sector along with the fundamentals of a centrally planned economy. The regime introduced multiple reforms that made the economy more open, but a high concentration of wealth still continued. Russia's economic growth rate remained negative during most of the 1990s, before the start of the subsequent golden decade. From 1999 to 2008, Russia's GDP grew by at least 4.7% each year. This growth made Russia one of the fastest-growing economies. This growth, however, was mostly driven by the boom in commodity prices, notably oil. The Russian economy got a jolt as oil prices dipped, triggered by the 2008 to 2009 global financial crisis, exposing Russia's dependence on oil. The economy gradually recovered as oil prices stabilized. The Russian economy then grew at a decent pace for 2011 and 2012, but structural issues started to emerge that caused a slowdown during 2013. The next couple of years saw a continued slowdown as the country faced multiple issues, including falling oil prices, geopolitical pressures, and sanctions by the West due to its invasion of Ukraine. Its GDP fell 2% in 2015. Russia's GDP managed to grow in each year from 2016 to 2018, before tapering off and falling 3% in 2020. In February 2022, Russia once again invaded Ukraine. On February 22, 2022, U.S. President Joe Biden announced sanctions against Russia in response to its military aggression against Ukraine, including the advancement of Russian troops into two separatist regions of eastern Ukraine. The administration noted that this is the first tranche of sanctions that go far beyond 2014, in coordination with allies and partners in the European Union, United Kingdom, Canada, Japan, and Australia. The sanctions are mostly economic and include blocking two state-owned Russian financial institutions, Venezia Bank and Provsvias Bank and their subsidiaries, which provide financing to the Russian military from accessing the U.S. financial system. Other sanctions include the U.S. Treasury prohibiting the purchase of new Russian sovereign debt and banning U.S. companies and individuals from buying sovereign debt in the secondary market. 5 Russian elites and their families have also been targeted. You can know more about sanctions in our previous video by clicking the I button on the top left corner. Let's continue. Russia's GDP is largely made up of 3 broad sectors: a small agricultural sector that contributes about 3.7% to GDP, followed by its industrial sector and service sector, which contribute 30% and 56.3% respectively. Harsh weather and tough geographic conditions make cultivation of land arduous and restricted to a few small areas of the nation. This is one of the main reasons behind the minimal role of the agricultural sector in Russia's economy. The agrarian sector is characterized by the coexistence of both the formal sector, represented by large producers for commercial purposes, and the informal sector, where small landholders produce for self-sustenance. The sector includes forestry, hunting and fishing, as well as cultivation of crops and livestock production. Despite being a large exporter of certain food items, Russia is a net importer of agriculture and food. Other than the non-availability or shortage of certain food products domestically, a few factors explain Russia's rising food imports. One is the higher inflation in Russia vis-à-vis its trading partners, which makes foreign imports more price competitive. The second reason is its sound economic progress, especially from 2000 to 2008. This boom period led to income growth, further pushing up consumer demand for food, which was met by imports. In 2014, in response to the West's food embargoes, the Russian government banned certain food categories, including dairy, meat, and produce from several countries, including the US and the European Union, which significantly dropped Russia's share of food imports. Although imports have been on the rise over the last few years, the number is still well behind the previous high in 2013. The contribution of Russia's industrial sector to its GDP has remained more or less stable, averaging around 30% over the last decade. For context, the US only generates 19% of its GDP from the industrial sector. The industrial sector comprises mining, manufacturing, construction, electricity, water, and gas. Russia has an array of natural resources, with a prominence of oil and natural gas, timber, deposits of tungsten, iron, diamonds, gold, platinum, tin, copper, and titanium. Going by importance, the fuel and energy complex is one of the most crucial for the Russian economy. It comprises the mining and production of energy resources, processing, delivery, and consumption of all types of energy. The FEC complex not only supports multiple sectors in the economy, but its products are also Russia's main exports. The service sector currently comprises over 56% of the country's GDP and employs the most people in the country, more than 67% of the population. The important segments of the Russian service sector are financial services, communications, travel and tourism, advertising, marketing and sales, real estate, healthcare and social services, art and culture, IT services, wholesale and retail trade and catering. It is often pointed out that as the crisis that accompanied the fall of the Soviet Union devastated agriculture and industry, it gave services a chance to pick up. In the end, Russia will likely need to further diversify its economy to establish a more balanced economy that is less susceptible to commodity price moves. Focusing on its manufacturing and service sectors may help achieve more sustainable long-term growth. Although the GDP composition reflects the growing importance of services, it is oil exports that drive most of its economy.